Coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios, this is Prime News on SABC 3. Here are the stories making headlines. The Lotteries Commission has failed to convince the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria to allow Ituba to be granted a temporary license of 12 months, while the new operator, SETA, is still preparing to take over.
He came here to rent the vehicle, but this guy said allegedly didn't give him a car because he had seen his photo on media.
A manhunt is on for two suspects linked to the murder of Johannesburg student Lerato Mongale. A third suspect, Nkosi Makanya, was shot and killed in an early morning shootout with police at a flat in Amanzimtoti. Good evening and welcome to your Friday edition of Prime News on 3. I am Beki Mutumomolete and I'm pleased to guide you through the top stories that matter most. Without wasting any time, let's dive straight into what's currently dominating the news. The National Lotteries Commission has failed to convince the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria to allow Ituba to be granted a temporary license of 12 months, while the new operator, SETA, is still preparing to take over. The NLC has argued that unless the incumbent operator, Ituba, is given a 12-month temporary license, lottery sales will stop from the 1st of June. This after the court had earlier ruled that Ituba may only operate the lottery for 5 months. However, Ituba says it will not be financially feasible to operate the National Lottery for the 5-month period granted and that it wants a temporary license of at least another 12 months. The court dismissed the application and has upheld the previous judgment. One of the unsuccessful bidders for the lottery license, Winanjalo, launched the initial court proceedings. Winanjalo has argued that there are enough reserves to continue paying beneficiaries should the lottery need to temporarily shut down. KwaZulu-Natal police say that they are still on the hunt for two suspects allegedly linked to the murder of Johannesburg student Lerato Mongale. This after the main suspect, Nkosi Makanya, was shot and killed in an early morning shootout with police at an apartment in Amanzimtoti in the south of Durban. The other two fugitives have been identified by police as Fezile Ngubane and Bongani Mtimkulu.
It's in this apartment in this block of flats where Makanya sought refuge. This is also where he met his fate. Police say the apartment was rented by a tenant who was a friend of Makanya's, from whom he had rented cars from previously.
He came here to rent the vehicle, but this guy said allegedly didn't give him a car because he had seen his photo on media that he was wanted for something. So he kept him here and he was interrogating, asking him why, what happened. And he said he confessed to him of what he did in Joburg.
On Thursday morning, after evading arrest, police tracked Makanya, who was picked up by two other people in a vehicle, a grey Volkswagen Polo. It's believed they drove to the north coast and then back to Durban. Police said they also picked up Makanya's location as he drew money from an ATM. After the shootout, the police recovered at least 28 identity documents and 20 cell phones, allegedly from victims he robbed. Mkonazi says since the circulation of pictures and identifying the suspects in the murder, police received more than 90 complaints from members of the public who were alleged victims of Makanya and his accomplices. Makanya's friend has been cooperating with police. For SABC News, I am Jade Paulser in Durban.
Meanwhile, the friend who was visited in his flat by Nkosi Makanya, the main suspect in the murder of Johannesburg student Lerato Mongale, has spoken in detail of the last hours of Makanya's life.
I couldn't contact the police, and that's why I begged him to hand himself over in the morning. I was willing to accompany him to the police station at Amanzimtoti. We agreed to that. But then he said he wanted to pray. Just as we were praying, police arrived and a shootout ensued.
The visibly shaken friend says Makanya called to ask to use one of his vehicles, something he's done before. He says after Makanya arrived at his apartment, he went to draw money. While Makanya was away, he says he read about the police hunt for Makanya on social media. The friend says on Makanya's return, he confronted him and also refused to give Makanya a vehicle. He says Makanya became emotional and confessed to the murder.
He told me that he didn't want to kill Olurato. He just wanted money and nothing else. He told me that this was the first person that had died by his hands. He confessed a number of things and asked that I tell his mother what he did.
He says Makanya became suicidal and expressed regrets about what he's done. The friend says he was afraid to contact the police.
Makanya told me that what made him reluctant to hand himself over to the police was that he had been arrested before and has pending cases.
He says this will haunt him for the rest of his life. The police say the man isn't treated as a suspect and is cooperating with the police investigation. For SABC News, I am Jade Paulser in Amanzimtoti.
Lawyers for Jocelyn Smith's kidnappers and traffickers are gearing up to appeal their client's conviction and life imprisonment sentences. The little girl's mother, Kelly Smith, her boyfriend, Jacqueline Apollos, and Stefano van Rijn were sentenced by the Western Cape High Court sitting at Saldanha Bay on West Coast on Thursday.
The conviction and subsequent sentencing of the trio came as no shock for their legal representatives. The parties have indicated they will file their appeals within the next 2 weeks.
From the 2nd of May, we knew we were going to appeal. Even before the judgment, we knew we were going to appeal.
Despite receiving the harshest sentence, this is a bittersweet victory for those who are concerned about the child's whereabouts. In a victim impact statement ahead of sentencing, Kelly Smith's mother, Amanda Daniel Smith, labeled her daughter a liar for failing to tell the truth despite promising her that she would speak this week.
You don't want to take responsibility for your actions. Now you want to play victim. You looked at me in the face and said, "Mommy, I will talk the next time when we appear." I believed you.
Former accused 10-state witness Laurentia Lombard testified that Kelly told her the child was sold to a sangoma for 20,000 rands. She further added that the person who bought Jocelyn was interested in her eyes and skin.
There will be a hearing, which will be a separate hearing relating to Ms. Lombard and her legal representative, because I want to hear argument on it.
Kelly Smith speculated that Jocelyn may have been trafficked for sexual exploitation. Beyond this, she maintains her innocence and remains silent in the trial. In the midst of her silence, she remains the key in answering the questions: what happened to Jocelyn and where is she? Spiwe Wobasi, SABC News in Saldanha Bay on the West Coast.
Welcome back. President Donald Trump is currently holding a news conference with Elon Musk as the Tesla CEO departs his role as a special government employee overseeing the US DOJ e-service. Let's listen in.
The slings and the arrows, which is a shame because he's an incredible patriot. The good news is that 90% of the country knows that, and they appreciate it, and they really appreciate what he did. And I gave him a little special something we have here.
Thank you.
A very special that I give to very special people. I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. You've seen a lot. The luck on this is amazing.
That's right. Large luck.
Well, let me say perhaps a few words that this is not the end of DOJ, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that it comes with a time limit. But the DOJ team will only grow stronger over time. The DOJ influence will only grow stronger. It's I'd liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life. So it is permeating throughout the government, And I'm confident that over time we'll see $1 trillion of savings and a reduction in $1 trillion of waste and fraud reduction. The calculations of the Doge team thus far, in terms of an FY25 to FY26 delta, are over 160 billion, and that's climbing. We expect that number will probably go over 200 billion soon. So I think the Doge team is doing an incredible job. They're going to continue doing an incredible job, and I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president, and I look forward to times being back in this amazing room. By the way, isn't this incredible? Look at this incredible. I mean, it's stunning. I think the way that the Oval Office, how the president has just completely redone the Oval Office. It's beautiful. I love the gold on the ceiling.
Thank you. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's been there a long time. That was plaster. Nobody ever really saw it. They didn't know the eagle was up there, and we highlighted. It's essentially it's a landmark, a great landmark, and that's 24 karat gold, and everybody loved it. And now they all see it when they come in. So it's been good.
The Oval Office finally has the majesty that it deserves, thanks to the president. So I look forward to continuing to be a friend and advisor to the president, continuing to support the Doge team. And we are relentlessly pursuing $8 trillion in waste and fraud reductions, which will benefit the American taxpayer. So that's it, really. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Right.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, President Trump. The president mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at Doge. There's this.
Well, some of the people.
There was a joint live briefing by U.S. President Donald Trump and Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Former President Thabo Mbeki says he believes the much-anticipated national dialogue will be very instrumental in bringing South Africa back to the path that the late anti-apartheid struggle stalwart Gertrude Shope and her generation sacrificed for. Mbeki, together with his wife Zanele, visited the Shope residence to pay their respects to the family.
Very unhappy about what's been happening is to say it's time that, for the very first time, that the entire population of South Africa must get together to say what's wrong, to say this is the South Africa we want, this is South Africa we don't want. So the call for a national dialogue is exactly to do that. And from the response, there's a great expectation in the country for the national dialogue. We are in contact with many South Africans, many sectors. And all of them are saying we look forward to this national dialogue because for the first time the people will speak for themselves.
Thank you for staying with us. The Minister of Higher Education and Training, Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane, says she withdrew the appointment of SETA board chairpersons due to public outcry. Recently, members of Parliament's Portfolio Committee demanded answers on the appointment of alleged politically connected board chairpersons at SETAs.
The minister described herself as a public representative with the interest of the public at heart.
After seeing those trends on social media, I took it upon me as a responsible citizen to say, let me listen, what is the outcry about? Then I could pick up that amongst the issues, in particular from Honorable Khao is that the recommended candidates to serve as chairs, they are viewed or perceived to be more politically bloated or associated with some of the politicians within the movement. Then I said, I must be responsible.
Nkabane was asked by the committee to explain her decision to withdraw the appointments of SETA board chairpersons. This follows a heated committee meeting recently because of the appointments, which led to an EFF MP being removed from the committee and the whole process canned.
When you are restarting the process, but you are still insisting that there was nothing wrong with the process, there is absolutely no one, no rational person, no ordinary person, not a single person in South Africa that can buy that story.
The reason why you configured the list of the panel the way you configured it is so that there is a tailored outcome of these ANC cadres.
Meanwhile, Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources, Gwede Mantashe, had this to say about the matter.
Buyambo is having 2 master's degrees and many other qualifications. And the young chap was making a big noise. They said, drop out of the UCT. I take an exception on that.
Nkabane also came under fire for refusing to share the names of the panel who advised her on the appointment of the chairpersons. The nomination process has been reopened until the 13th of next month. Nkabane had acceded to members that it should be re-gazetted to include a clear invitation to Indian, coloured and white demographics to avail themselves for positions of board chairpersons. Zaleen Merrington, SABC News, Parliament.
The African Development Bank Group annual meetings have concluded in the Ivorian commercial city of Abidjan. Over 5,000 delegates from different parts of the continent attended the 5-day gathering. South Africa was represented by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana.
The African Development Bank Group gathering is done and dusted. Delegates are adamant that the continent will overcome its massive challenges, especially with the new leadership at the helm.
Our member states need to tighten their belts and ensure a more efficient use of resources. We need to embark on growing our economy to the point where we are able to pay our debt. We should ensure that there is productivity within the continent rather than consumption. We should empower our young people.
Finance and planning ministers say the bank group must drive the agenda.
Obviously, there will be a discussion about priorities, and we as South Africa, and of course with our colleagues in other regions, we are going to be discussing where to take the bank forward.
It's not easy to be a finance minister right now, I can tell you, from any quarter of the world or from any country, because there's so many pressures. There are the geopolitical pressures. You've got pressures in terms of global financial markets. We've seen, the credit really being difficult to access globally, and the cost of credit has gone up.
Our presence here marks, that importance, critical importance, that development cannot be divorced from, finance. They go together.
The new president of the African Development Bank Group will officially take over at the end of August, succeeding Nigerian economist Dr. Akinwumi Adesina. Kylie Kumalo, SABC News, Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire.
It is now time for us to decode nature's mood swings, and our weather team is on standby to take you through the motions. Your weather report is coming up next. And that's how we wrap up our news bulletin this evening. As we look forward to the weekend, we wish you a fantastic one ahead. From myself and the incredible Prime News team, stay ahead and inspired. Good night.